Welcome to the Future of Less Work, where we explore how work is transforming one conversation at a time. I'm Nirit Cohen, and today we'll explore how AI is reshaping not just what the way we do or what we do at work, but how work itself is designed. Lenovo Work Reborn, I really love that name, research doesn't read like a tech release. It reads like a cultural manifesto, arguing that the era of one size fits all is all over. It calls for a workplace that accepts people, flexes around life, and empowers everyone to innovate. When I read that, I figured I needed to hear more. So joining me today is Rakshit Ghura, Vice President and General Manager of Digital Workplace Solutions at Lenovo, to unpack what this shift looks like in practice. What happens when AI becomes the architect of a modern workplace? Rakshit, welcome to Future of Less Work.
Hi, Nirit. Such a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. I am really curious. I really love the term work reborn. So, from your experience, what differentiates organizations that are truly reinventing work from the ones that are simply digitizing old habits?
Yeah. So, if you ask me, I think there is a difference between digitization and reinvention. So, digitization refers to, you are actually changing the old processes, or you are kind of taking the existing processes and then trying to apply new technology to it. But reinvention is all about, understanding the new dimension of work, understanding and re-architecting not just the existing tools, but even the processes and people and the practices around it, and using all of it to design the future of work. So I'm super excited about this topic. I do believe there is a lot to do in this particular space. The future is going to be all about driving meaningful business outcomes. And that is where Lenovo's Work Reborn report is bringing up a lot of new interesting perspective for the organizations.
So I'd love to dive into those, but just on this last thing you said, I mean, all the reports that keep coming up, it feels like we are so the first year was about people exploring, right? The second year was about organizations trying to figure it out. And we're seeing a lot of data that it's really hard to really reinvent the processes. We intuitively just bring it in as automation for existing processes. What's your experience telling you about how to do that?
Yeah, Nirit, I think a couple of points. I think first of all, you're bang on. Changing existing processes, changing and bringing in new technology, bringing in new ways of working is not an easy thing, right? I mean, so we need to reimagine the thing from the scratch. So definitely what we are seeing from a work reborn standpoint, there are series of interesting outcomes which are coming up. One, every organization wants to transform. So we, in our research, found that 97% of the enterprises, they want to embrace the new ways of working, but 60% of them are not even have not even yet started, right? I mean, because they are unclear about how to go about it. So what it really requires to deliver the next generation digital workplace is a complete, intent from the organization leadership to define change, to see how we can adopt the new processes, adopt the new practices, and not think about the evolution of technology as a bolt-on on the existing processes. So it's required complete redesign and transformation. There are challenges around managing people expectation. There is challenges around how do you define the next generation vision, and these are the kind of challenges Lenovo is helping the large enterprises to solve.
So this is why I really wanted to talk to you, because it feels to me that a lot of this is about the change, the people change that happens here, right? I mean, it's touching our jobs, it's touching there's a lot of fear. There are a lot of changes happening all at once. It's very heavy lifting from a people change management perspective. So your report points out almost like the reasons why, the why this is good, the why people would want to embrace it. So let's talk about personalization, right? I mean, that's a clear one, the one size fits all. How do you see that as being part of the process?
Absolutely. Nirit, I think one of the interesting stats, and again, it came from our work report, we identified that almost 70% of the enterprises have realized that one of the biggest differentiation which they can drive in the next 3 years to improve the workplace productivity is to bring in hyper-personalization. So we are seeing, the old model was all about providing one single solution to all your employees. So I can take example of, maybe we are talking in the old model that everyone goes to the school with the same shoes, right? So you wear the same shoes at work, which means that same device, same apps, same support, nothing is personalized for the workplace, right? But in the new model, especially with the help of advance of agentic AI solutions, we are seeing that tailor-made experiences, ability to provide customized footwear to each and every employee is very much possible. And AI is really helping us to drive deeper, meaningful, get deeper, meaningful insights from an employee standpoint, understand what roles they are playing, understand what is their work habit, understand their learning, habits, and then create a complete tailor-made, platform for them through which we can unleash the next generation employee experience. So this is all about transformation, making it personal, and then taking the advantage of new technology to build a workplace which is centered around not you as a one size fit all, not you just as a one single persona, but identifying each and every employee for their unique needs, and then building a very custom tailor made workplace which performs for them.
Can you give me an example of what that looks like?
Yeah. So just as an example for any enterprise, right? I mean, if it is a digital worker versus they are a knowledge worker, or if they're a task worker, so how do you customize, understand that what are the day-to-day challenges which this employee is facing in their business role, understanding, what are the apps which have high importance in their day-to-day life, understanding the performance of their device, understanding, what are the areas, what are their day-to-day issues which are causing them digital friction, trying to resolve all of them in an automatic manner, without compromising on the productivity, and more importantly, specific to individual, defining their work habits and understanding their focus time, understanding their needs, and then providing a complete solution around that.
So you're going to, so I was looking at my laptop here. I have a Lenovo ThinkPad, right? So
Mhm.
so you walk into an organization, everybody gets the same ThinkPad, and then the configuration, everything is the same. And you're basically saying, no, I'm going to learn who you are, how you work, and we'll reconfigure the system so it supports what you do.
Absolutely, Nirit. I mean, so it understand and applies the contextual policies. It can also able to see what are the day to day challenges which you are facing on your machine, and accordingly it can personalize the entire experience to your work habit, right? I mean, so making sure that your machine, your software, your support services are performing just how you should be, you want them to be, and you are spending less time with the IT issues, and you are focusing more on the productive time, and making sure that you are doing focused work for the company rather than worrying about the technological issues.
Yeah, and that part I get. I think the one size fits all is it's almost a culture, right? Because ultimately, we're used to managing through uniformity. It's not just the systems, right? It's a lot of things. And so you're actually talking about a very significant cultural transformation where work, um, I saw you take it a step further, not just the personalization, but actually flexes around life is what you've called that. Tell me why you went that direction.
Yeah. So see, I mean, we think that the new technology, especially Gen AI, right? It's not just about unleashing the employee productivity. It is not just about automating the day-to-day task. It can also help in improving the overall employee experience and employee work-life balance, right? So how do we apply Gen AI to see that there is lesser day-to-day challenges which our employees are facing. There is lesser digital friction. There is lesser burnout which is being caused on a day-to-day basis. So with the help of our technology, we can actually make sure that employees are not getting compromised on the user experience, and we are able to not just focus on the productivity, innovation, and the automation side of the things, we can also focus on their health and wellness, and that can be also delivered as part of the new technology stack.
So I'm trying to figure out how we make that work and how we build the trust so employees believe that this flexibility is for them, not just for productivity. And frankly, I remember when we started putting ergonomic software on this is before COVID on tools. People thought it was watching them, right? It was how am I keying or am I now not touching my keyboard? And they took it off. So how do you build the trust around this?
No, absolutely. I think Nirit, trust is the most important currency when it comes to any new technology advancement. So obviously, there is a lot of effort which is required just to make sure that employees are not treating this new technology evolution, which is coming with the help of agentic AI, as a big brother approach where we are trying to watch their system, what exactly they are doing. This is all about making sure building the trust with the employees that we are actually not watching what they're doing. We are trying to build their own unique digital profile, right? So based on the work habit, what they are doing, without capturing, their private data, without capturing their identity information, we are trying to figure out how do they evolve, and how do they what is their pattern of work, and how they can evolve on that particular standpoint. So that is the approach. And then more importantly, what is equally important is that employees should understand that as part of the AI initiatives, we are not talking about taking away jobs. What we are trying to do is to make sure that all these employees are operating at their productive best, and they are the best version of themselves. And this is not seen as an element wherein we are trying to automate certain things and try to reduce the manpower. This is all about focusing on employees to understand how do we make them the productive best version of themselves with the advance of new technology. So how do we make them even more intuitive, even more productive, even more innovative in their business role? So tech is supporting the human potential rather than the other way around.
So, I wanted to ask you about this whole democratizing innovation concept, but before we do that, just on your last comment, right? I mean, we see the data. There are a lot of leaders out there who are using or thinking about AI as a tool to be able to replace more and more tasks with technology and therefore let go of people, right? I mean, so people are looking at the numbers. Personally, I think that they will figure out sometime down the line that they've lost what made them them, because I don't think you can build an organization without bringing in a pipe from the bottom. And I don't think you can build an organization on fear. And I think people will figure out what to do with these tools. But I'm curious from your experience, whether it's internally in Lenovo or with customers, how do you do this without bringing in that fear or talking about letting people go?
Yep. So, Nick, the good thing about Lenovo is that we are not just using these technologies internally. We are providing a lot of consultancy services around these set of services for our customers. So, really helping them embrace new AI technologies in their workforce. So, you are bang on. I think some of these things require complete strategic positioning. How do we work with the business leaders to define their AI strategy? And more importantly, when we take any AI projects, we generally make sure that first thing we work with the leadership is to figure out what exactly are the use cases which they want to automate with the or transform with the help of AI. And most of the times you will see that automation is not the top use case. Generally, the use cases are around unleashing employee productivity, improving the faster time to market, identifying and building new products and offering. So those are the kind of use cases which are there, right? I mean, so it's important that when it comes to IT leaders, they just don't see AI as a platform to just automate some of the repetitive tasks. Yes, it can do that, but it is just scratching the surface. But it can go much more deeper, much more insightful to figure out how do we deliver the next generation of use cases which has a much higher ROI attached to the use cases, right? And like you rightly said, this technology we have seen all the new technology in the past, right? I mean, whether it's internet evolution, email, when it came to life, and then even the computers when they were built, right? Every time there was a similar fear that it is going to take over the jobs. Some jobs will definitely get automated, but then there are new set of jobs and which will get created. The reality is that future belongs to those who, the jobs which will get lost are not the ones which are getting automated. They are the one, if you are not able to use AI effectively in your business role, those are the people who are at risk, right? I mean, so that's how I see it, right? I mean, from my standpoint, it is not about if you're not using AI, if you have not got understood how to use AI effectively in your business role, that's the biggest challenge. I think if we can use AI, it can bring the same kind of transformation what happened couple of years, couple of decades back with all these new evolution. Same thing will happen on the AI side.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I recently wrote about the creator economy, and I saw you also talk about this idea that every employee is an innovator. So you really you're telling them, AI is a creative partner, not a tool for efficiency. And I'm wondering, so I get that people need to own, learning that and developing them. But what happens to leadership when ideas aren't suddenly, coming from the top, but actually bubbling from the bottom?
Yeah, so that's where the leadership buy-in is the most important thing, right? I mean, they need to understand that what are the organization priorities, and more importantly, they need to understand that how do the best transformation can only happen if the people who are are the common employees of the company, they started making the best use of the technology. So it's important that leader understand and they make sure that these employees expectations are built into the evolution of the technology. Their aspirations are getting covered, and that's how they build the entire approach, right? It should not be top down. It should capture voice of the employees. It should capture what are the use cases where they want to use these technologies can help them in their day-to-day role, and then bringing in an external perspective around building the entire workplace stack.
So where do you think most organizations get stuck when they try to transform?
I think somehow from our experience what we have seen is most of the enterprises, they get stuck when they are not able to communicate what is the larger vision to their every employee in the company. And that's where it builds a lot of mistrust within the company, right? So it is very important that we build confidence with the employees, help them understand that this technology is all about enabling them, helping them in their work. It is not going to take away the jobs. So that's the biggest bottleneck which is there. And then obviously the second biggest bottleneck is many a times because of the legacy systems, enterprises are not even aware where to start, right? I mean, so while they
Yeah.
have a larger vision, they sometimes does not have the clarity on where to start and how to start and what to do and what not to do. More importantly, they also feel shy in terms of, hey, how the world is going to judge me if I'm not clear about my strategy, right? That's where getting an external perspective is very important, and that's where Lenovo is helping our customers around some of these initiatives and building a hybrid AI strategy for our customer base.
So it's really interesting. I've been hearing a lot of debate from the where to start perspective. So people say, do pilots and try to grow them. And others are saying, no, to go kind of an end to end enterprise or choose big, hairy goals. Where do you stand on this? Where do we start?
So, yeah, from our experience, we'll say, I think, obviously the best strategy is always not to burn the entire ocean, right? So start small, scale fast is the best strategy, which is there. So, identify the top use cases, identify the low hanging fruits, build a references for the future, and then quickly scale it into the production environment, making sure that POC, the proof of value, is delivering the result. That is the right way of approaching things. Second, we do believe that any enterprise transformation around GenAI should have the mindset of having people first, processes second, and technology third, right? I mean,
What does that
so
mean?
So people first means that, if you are thinking about even start small, scale fast, right? I mean, identify what are those challenges which your people are facing on a day to day basis, and then see how you are going to transform the workflows and processes around it. And lastly, think about what tech stack is going to enable it. There is so much around agentic AI technologies which is available in the world, different models, different use cases, different platforms. I think starting with the people problem first, understanding what need to be transformed, then studying the existing processes, and then defining the new process from scratch. And then think about it, what technology we need to provide to the company makes sense. Rather than saying, I have just bought X thousand licenses, I want to provide it to every employee, let them figure out what they want to do out of it. Those kind of approaches generally lead to poor ROI and poor success from a long term standpoint.
So here's a follow up question then. When technology changes so quickly and the tools show up almost hourly, how do we keep up as people with what is possible?
Yeah. So this is an interesting question, Nirit, and from my experience, I'll say, you're bang on. The pace of change of technology on the digital workplace side and on the consumer side also, right? I mean, many of the trends which we are bringing on the digital workplace, they initially start from consumerization, right? So that is very, very high, right? I mean, every 3 months, 1 month, there is a new solution which will come to the market, right? So I think what makes sense for the enterprises is to figure out, one, keep a tap of what is happening in the industry. Unfortunately, there's no shortcut to it, right? I mean, we need to be aware about what is happening in the world, and we need to have everything in our arsenal to design the right workforce strategy or workplace strategy for the customer. Choose and map the platforms which can really deliver to the immediate people need of an organization. Like I said, people first, processes second, and then technology. And then third, making sure that you're not just limiting yourself to those tech platforms. You are equally investing into the employee learning and development augmentation. We should not assume that every employee has the right skills available to utilize that particular technology and platform what we are building for them. So there is a element of change management, learning and development, which should be also included into the plan. And more importantly, then we should always constantly benchmark whether the tech stack platform what we have chosen, is it delivering to the right ROI outcomes which we defined at the start of the exercise. And obviously it's a continued loop. So we need to make sure that if there are new technologies and some of the old technologies are no longer holding that meaningful impact, so at some point of time, we should also not be creating technology debt within the company, and we should be automating around it.
Yeah, and I think that's you also said, you said people first, process second, and technology third. So the people first I get, and bringing everyone with you along and all that. The process, though, when we go back to the redesigning a lot of the things, right? So you don't necessarily land with the same jobs and the same functions. You should be probably redesigning those. Have you seen really good examples that you can share of how the redesign generates something that works for the company and the people?
Absolutely, Nirit. I think as part of Lenovo Digital Workplace Solutions, we have a platform called Care of One, with the help of which we can actually understand the employee work personas. We can understand what are the typical challenges which they face on a day-to-day basis. We can understand, what are the productivity bottlenecks which they are facing, and we can also, figure out, what are the issues which are impacting those employees on a day-to-day basis. And most of these issues, with the help of our predictive and preventive technology, we can identify those issues even before the user or employees realizes there is a problem on their software side or on their devices side or on their networking side. And put a corrective fix around it. And then obviously we are providing agentic AI solutions to our customer, through which we can significantly able to reduce the amount of time they are spending around the digital friction. So we are able to significantly plow back that
Yeah.
kind of productive time to each and every employee within the company. So that is one use case where we are actually impacting everybody in the workforce, irrespective of the department which they belong to, and we are able to reduce their downtime around IT services and the digital friction it is creating by almost 60%, right? I mean, so that's one.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then obviously we are an aggressive user of Gen AI technologies within our company. So even for our marketing teams, we have a platform called Studio.ai, and with the help of that Studio.ai platform, we are able to co-create, co-develop a lot of new contents. So it is becoming it is really helping us to launch new products and offer almost 70% faster to the market, and we are also saving a huge amount of dollars spent around some of these initiatives. So these are some of the examples. Obviously we are a tech company by itself also, so we are using similar technologies around automating code, automating different
Yeah.
aspects of the job role, but it can be actually applied to any persona within the company. The structured approach is making sure that you take your employees as a co-creator in this exercise, involve them early. So example, if we are starting with a certain business specific personas, make sure that they are heard well, make sure we understand their work habit, make sure we are picking up ideas for them, what really matters to them, and then start applying Gen AI on top of it.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. So here's a question that I always try to wrap up with. What's the one question you think we should all be asking ourselves about the future of work these days?
That's a really tough one. I'm thinking, what is that one question we should be asking ourselves about the future of work? So I personally feel that the future of work is going to be very personalized, and more importantly, I think the future of work will not just be the human agent, humans. It will be a combination of human and agentic AI agents which are working in tandem. And then obviously I do feel that every employee would have a digital twin, right? Which means that you would have another version of yourself, a digital version of yourself, which would be equally aware about what do you do on a day-to-day basis, and it can also take a lot of decision making on your behalf. So if tomorrow the digital agent or the digital twin of yours start doing whatever you were doing much more effectively, without getting worried about anything else, or without getting stuck in on the day-to-day basis, I think we would have a lot of time left for thinking about what to do next in our careers.
And you consider that a good thing because I see you smiling,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I think it to be a good thing, because I do feel that every jobs need to evolve. I mean, so obviously we need to see how new tech can create a lot of bandwidth for us to focus on next set of challenges, and focus on spending time on new set of innovation differentiation, which we can drive with the help of new bandwidth, which will be created with the help of digital twin. So digital twin basically focusing on all the mundane, repetitive, all the boring part of our lives, right? I mean, focusing on that aspect of our professional life, and then we spending the remaining, productivity which is unleashed by that, to focus on the innovation, differentiation, and driving the value in whatever business role we have been hired for our company.
Yeah. And, I called this podcast The Future of Less Work, not because I think we will work less or we'll have less work, but I think we should be doing less of what doesn't matter and more of
Yeah.
what does, right?
I love the name of the podcast channel. I must say that future of less work. It really resonates with me. And less here does not mean less. Less here means that you are focusing on the truly differentiating side of the things and have more time to focus on differentiation, innovation, and some of the other aspects.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Rakshit, for joining me today. For more about Rakshit Ghura and Lenovo's work, Reborn Research, check out the links in the podcast description. Thank you for tuning in to the Future Less Work. And remember, your best people do not work because they have to. They don't work because you tell them to or you measure them on it. They work because by working for you, they're doing what's important to them in life. Till next time.